In this episode of Trekking Through Compliance, we take up the episode, The Naked Time.
Compliance, the final frontier. Tom Fox is the voyager of Trekking Through Compliance. His mission? To explore the original series and seek out and share what it can teach you about compliance. Here's your host, Tom Fox.
Episode 4, The Naked Time. Air date, September 29, 1966. Directed by Mark Daniels and written by John D.F. Blank. A landing party from the Enterprise beams aboard an ancient planet PSI 2000, which is about to break up. They find all 6 of the remaining crew manning the station dead. However, the circumstances are quite bizarre, since the life support systems have been switched off and everything in the station is frozen solid. Crewman Joey unwisely removes his glove and is contaminated by red liquid. When Joey and Spock, the other person on the away team, return to the Enterprise, both are given a clean bill of health by Dr. McCoy. However, Joey notices a strange itch and begins to act irritably and irrationally. He threatens Sulu with a knife and then turns it on himself. To Dr. McCoy's surprise, Joey soon dies from the inconsequential wound which resulted. The infection afflicting Joey spreads like wildfire through the crew. As the Enterprise begins a close orbit requiring constant vigilance, Sulu abandons his post for a jaunt at the gym, believing himself to be a rapier brandishing French cavalier. Kevin Riley takes over the engine room and declares himself captain. He demands ice cream for the entire crew and then begins a ship-wide broadcast of his personal rendition of classic Irish ballads, his favorite being Kathleen. As the Enterprise continues to spiral downward, Scotty attempts to cut through the bulkhead to regain control from Riley. Scotty has a stroke of genius, which is to change the laws of physics in an hour. However, this proves problematic. Of course, while all of this is going on, Nurse Chapel infects Mr. Spock and professes love to him. This is extremely difficult for Spock since the infection is causing him to become excessively emotional. Spock then passes on the infection to Kirk, who begins exhibiting paranoia and loss of ability to command. Kirk is reduced to an ineffectual hand-wringer who can do nothing except antagonize over the fear that he's losing command of the Enterprise. Luckily, Bones finds the antidote just in time, and Riley is dislodged before the audience's ears are permanently damaged by his wrenching ballads. After mixing matter and antimatter at a colder temperature than recommended, according to an untested intermix formula, the Enterprise is thrown into a time warp, which causes the chronometer to run backwards. This allows the Enterprise to escape the breakup of the planet and return to its 71 hours into the past, and therefore before any of the episode took place. I found this to be one of the most interesting episodes, and certainly fun from the perspective of requiring the actors to stretch out from their traditional roles in Star Trek. Even if this was only the 4th aired episode, it was the 7th which was recorded in the series production schedule. In this episode, we have to talk about Mr. Sulu and his swashbuckling impulse as he becomes D'Artagnan. Is this his true character? Is this an impulse? We really don't know. But it did have one of the greatest lines in all of Star Trek, and it's subtly said that you might even miss it. At one point, Sulu, when he believes he is D'Artagnan, takes possession of Lieutenant Uhura, and calls her, quote, a fair maiden, end quote, to which she responds, sorry, neither. Great acting in this. And the featuring of Mr. Sulu really led George Takei to repeatedly mention in interviews that this is his favorite episode. He spends an entire chapter on it in his autobiography. He actually did not know how to fence before this episode aired, so he had to spend a lot of time practicing. I mentioned Lieutenant Uhura, of course, played by Nichelle Nichols. We also had Yeoman Janice Rand, played by Grace Lee Whitney, and Nurse Chapel, played by Gene Roddenberry's wife, Majel Barrett, appear in the same episode. This is the only time that these three women appeared in the same episode. The episode can be seen as rollicking fun, but it does bring up some interesting and perhaps troubling questions on mental health of your crew and indeed your staff. As we return to the office in a hybrid work environment, I would ask you to continue to work with your employees, not on mental health, but just on health. Today, I want to take a look at some of the ethical lessons from The Naked Time. As in this episode, the crew experiences a crisis which lowers their inhibitions and causes them to act on their deepest desires and fears. The situation provides several ethical lessons highly relevant to the compliance profession. Number one, the importance of self-control. Obviously, as a compliance professional, you must remain calm, controlled, and collected. But the virus in this case causes the crew members to lose their self-control, leading to impulsive and often destructive actions. This highlights the ethical importance of self-discipline and the ability to regulate one's emotions and actions. In a professional setting, maintaining self-control is crucial to upholding ethical standards and ensuring responsible behavior. Number two, accountability and responsibility. Each crew member's actions under the influence of the virus have consequences for the entire ship. This underscores the ethical principle of accountability, and individuals must take responsibility for their actions, recognizing that their behaviors can impact others. In organizations, fostering a culture of accountability helps ensure that everyone understands the importance of ethical conduct. Number three, transparency and honesty. The episode reveals hidden truths and suppressed emotions among the crew. While in the case of inhibitions causes chaos, it also brings to light the value of transparency and honesty. Ethically, individuals and organizations should strive for openness and honesty in their communications and actions to build trust and integrity. Number four, respect for others. While some crew members' actions under the virus's influence show a lack of respect for boundaries and well-being, respect for others is a fundamental ethical principle and a clear cultural value. In professional environments, treating colleagues with respect and consideration is essential for fostering ethical workplace culture. Number five, the role of leadership. Captain Kirk's ability to lead and make ethical decisions during the crisis is crucial to resolving the situation. Ethical leadership involves making tough decisions that prioritize the well-being of the team and the organization. Leaders must model ethical behavior and guide their teams through challenging circumstances with integrity. Number six, ethical decision-making under pressure. The crisis forces the crew to make rapid decisions under extreme pressure. Ethical decision-making requires careful consideration of the potential of consequences and the impact on all stakeholders. In high-pressure situations, maintaining ethical standards is crucial to ensuring responsible and just outcomes. Number seven, understanding human vulnerabilities. The episode highlights behavioral psychology and the vulnerabilities and weaknesses inherent in all individuals. Recognizing these vulnerabilities can lead to greater empathy and understanding. Ethical behavior involves acknowledging and addressing human weaknesses in a supportive and constructive manner. Number eight, the consequences of ethical lapses. Clearly, consequences of ethical lapses can relate or cause legal, reputational, and psychic damage. And the chaotic events on the Enterprise illustrate the far-reaching consequences of ethical lapses. Even small breaches of ethical conduct can lead to significant negative outcomes. Companies must emphasize the importance of ethical behavior to prevent such consequences and to maintain a positive reputation. And number nine, commitment to ethical standards. Despite the influence of the virus, the crew ultimately works together to resolve the crisis. This demonstrates a commitment to ethical standards and the cultural and collective good of the enterprise. Companies must foster an ethical culture, where ethical behavior is valued and reinforced and celebrated, even in the face of challenges. By analyzing the episode The Naked Time, individuals and companies can gain valuable insights into the importance of self-control, accountability, transparency, respect, ethical leadership, decision-making under pressure, and the commitment to maintaining high ethical standards. These lessons are essential for fostering ethical behavior and creating a positive and responsible ethical culture going forward. I hope you'll join us tomorrow where we take up the enemy within.
If you enjoyed this episode of Trekking Through Compliance, you can help it grow by sharing it with the biggest Trek fan you know.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.